Hello, Nissa Elementary School. Today is Thursday, April 9th, 2020, and I've got another story for you today. My wife told me that while I was at work, she took the girls for PE outside, which was a walk and scooter ride, and they stopped because they heard a weird buzzing, and they looked up into a cherry or a plum tree, and they heard bzzz, but they didn't see any bees, and they let their eyes focus, and then they saw one and another and another and another, and they said there were hundreds and hundreds of bees buzzing in this one tree. So it must be spring. And in honor of that, I'm going to read to you today Bees by Susan Ashley, and I'm reading it with permission from Weekly Reader Publisher. Buzz is the sound a bee makes as it flies. It flies from flower to flower. The sound comes from the bee's wings. They move very quickly. To a bee, a flower is like a grocery store. Bees go to a flower to find food. They collect the pollen. They feed it to young bees. They use the flower's nectar to make honey. Bees are insects. Like all insects, a bee has 6 legs. Its body has a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. A bee's body looks fuzzy. It is covered with tiny hairs. This is a nonfiction book. You can see in there that it labels the abdomen, the head, and the thorax. Wow, and that bee is covered in what? Pollen. Honeybees live in large groups. A group is called a colony. A colony has one queen bee. A colony has hundreds of male bees or drones. It has thousands of female worker bees. Cells. A bee begins life as an egg. The queen bee lays an egg in a cell. When it hatches, it becomes a larva. A larva looks like a small worm. You can see those eggs ready to hatch. After a few days, the larva changes shape. It becomes a pupa. Soon, the pupa becomes a young bee. Each bee has a job to do. Drones mate with the queen. The queen spends her life laying eggs. Worker bees raise the young. They gather food and guard the colony. The bees live in a hive. Inside the hive, worker bees build tiny wax rooms. The rooms are called cells. The bees store food in some cells. In other cells, they raise young bees. Wow, that's a very close-up picture of larva and a pupa in those cells. A young bee is put to work right away. It cleans its cell. The queen can lay a new egg there. Then another young bee joins the hive. So as soon as a baby bee is born, it starts cleaning its room. Wow. So this was Bees, published by Weekly Reader Publishing. And I hope while you're searching for Easter eggs this weekend that you don't step on any bees, and that you find someone that you can play with this Easter. Have a good weekend.